Morning, Ashton. I am going to start today with your math lesson, which is on page 85 in your math book. It is lesson 4 in module 3 called Practice and Apply Division of Fractions and Mixed Numbers. Alright, so this is going to be more practice with dividing mixed numbers and fractions to solve problems, specifically word problems. Okay? I saw that you submitted the assignment from last time. However, I did not see the evidence of your completed work. So if you could just figure out a way to snap a picture, either I know you said that Maggie can do it on her phone, or if you can somehow submit that to me so I can see that your work is done, or even if you want to log on at 2:30 to 3 o'clock today, we can figure out a way to so you can show me that completed work on your Google Meet. Okay, so the reason why I record the lessons is so that you can watch it whenever it's free for you and convenient for you, and you can kind of make your schedule the way that you want it to. All right, so let's get right to it today. Oops. All right, so as I said, this is lesson 4. Let me just move this little guy out of the way. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I can. Okay, Kevin is making hamburgers for a cookout. He bought 10 1/4 pounds of ground meat. How many 1/4 pound hamburger patties can he make? All right, so they're starting out with the mixed number 10 1/4, dividing it into 1/4 pound patties, 1/4 pound patties. Okay, so we're going to take our first step, of course, as you know, is to take 10 1/4 and convert it to an improper fraction. So we'll do that by multiplying 4 times 10, which is 40, plus 1 more, which is 41. That gives us 41 over 4 divided by 1/4. Okay, so that 41 over 4 is going to stay the same, and you'll notice from this step to this step, they've switched the division symbol to a multiplication symbol. Let me zoom in a little bit for you there. Okay, now you also notice that the first thing that they did was they crossed out their 4s. They simplified the 4s by reducing that to simplest terms, so they got down to 1 as the denominator and 1 as the numerator. So we are left with 41 still, because we haven't done anything but that, over 1, which is just a unit fraction. Anything over 1 is a unit fraction. Therefore, it is just 41. So that tells me that he can make 41 1/4 pound patties. That's a lot of burgers. Okay? Let's see. There we go. Kevin's friend Justin is bringing juice to the cookout. If he brings 43 3/4 pints of juice, then how many 2.5 pint bottles can be filled? All right, so a little bit more complex this time. 43 3/4 pints of juice divided by 2.5 pint bottles. All right, so we've got 43 3/4. So that means I'm just going to come off to the side here. 43 times 4 is 172 plus 3 more. Gives me 175 over 4. 175 over 4. And then 2.5 is 5 over 2. 2 times 2 is 2 plus 1 more. So now I'm going to have 175 fourths. Change my symbol to multiplication, and that'll give me 2 fifths. Okay? So you probably see right away there that 2 goes into both 2 and 4. So that 2 will become a 1. This 4 becomes a 2. Now, I also noticed that my numerator ends in a 5, so it means it's divisible by this 5 here. So 5 goes into 5 once. And off the top of my head, I'm not exactly sure what 175 divided by 5 is. Then I'll just go ahead and calculate that real quick. And I get 35. Okay, so this 175 becomes 35 times 1 is 35, and 2 times 1 is 2. So now I'm left with 35 halves. So I need to ask myself now, how many times does 2 go into 35? And if you don't do that in your head, then you'll just come over here to divide. 35 divided by 2 is 17 with a remainder of 1. So the way that they've got this set up here, 35 halves, I think we might have skipped a step by reducing here. So that's good though. We did that the right way. So I get 17 as my quotient, remainder of 1, and if I represent that as a fraction, I'm going to get 17 and 1/2. Okay. Now if I wouldn't have done this step here, I would have wound up with 17 and 10/20ths over here. And that's just the only reason why I put the 17 and 1/2 right here in this box. Okay. So the question is, how many 2.5 pint bottles can be filled completely? Well, 17 of the bottles can be filled completely. And then we would have half left over. So that's not a full bottle, so we don't count that. So we only count the 17 bottles that are full. Okay, can you see that? Oh boy, I hope so. Okay, so that's just something to work through the steps here. That's what, and review what we did last week. Okay, you can go ahead and flip to page 86 now. Sorry, I've gone a little blurry here. There we go. I think that fixes it. Okay. Number 3 says, Cedric finished a 4-mile race. If he ran each mile at the same pace, how many minutes did he average for each mile? Write an expression to represent the situation. Okay. So all the information that we need right here is up here on the graphic. So it's 4 miles in 38.5 minutes. So when we divide, the 38.5 is the dividend. Okay, so I'm starting out with 38 and 1/2 divided by, oh boy, I've gone blurry again, divided by the 4 miles that I'm running. Okay, equals A. I'll just put A for average. Okay, evaluate the division expression using the reciprocal of the divisor. Show your work. So that's exactly what we've been doing. All right. So 38.5 divided by 4 is like the same as 38.5 divided by 4 over 1. So I would say 38.5, change division to multiplication, and switch 4 over 1 to 1/4. Okay. Now in my next step, I want to change 38.5. 38 times 2, which would be, let's see, 76 plus 1. So I have 77 over 2 times 1/4. All right. Now, looking at that problem, I don't see any way to simplify that down or reduce it to any lower terms. So we're going to keep it as is. So once I've got 77 halves times 1/4, I will have 77 over 8. And so I've got obviously 77 divided by 8 there. So I'm just going to come off to the side. And I do this partial quotient method sometimes. So if I had 77 divided by 8, I can't use 10, but I can use 9. So that would give me 9 as my quotient with a remainder of 5. So since we're dealing with distance, I'm going to keep this as a fraction. So 9 and 5/8 would be my answer. All right. So how many minutes did Cedric take to run each mile? 9 and 5/8 minutes. Okay. All right. Now, since this is a little bit of a shorter lesson, I'm going to work through this part with you, and I will have you complete the extra practice on your own afterwards. Okay. So number 1 in the check your understanding section says Youssef is cutting pieces of construction paper so he can make cards for his family. Each piece of paper is 11.5 inches wide, and he cuts the width so that he would have 2 equal-sized smaller pieces. How wide will each smaller piece be? Okay, so I always look for the information in the problem, and I get 11.5 inches wide. But when I'm looking for my second number, I don't see a second number. But I do notice that it says it will have 2 equal-sized smaller pieces. So if you're cutting things into 2 smaller pieces, we're dividing by 2. Okay? So now that would give me 22. 2 times 11 is 22 plus 1, so 23 halves times. Okay, that 2 means 2 over 1, so I'm going to flip it so it's 1 over 2. And that will give me 23 fourths. Now 4 goes into 23 5 times, with 3 left over, so that's 5 3/4. Okay. Number 2, Marisol has 4.5 cups of flour. A biscuit recipe she wants to try requires 3/4 cup of flour for a single batch of biscuits. How many batches of biscuits can Marisol make? We have 4.5 divided by 3/4. So let's see, that would be 9 halves times 4 over 3. Now, when I get to this point, I see I can do some simplifying. 2 goes into 2 one time, and it goes into 4 2 times. 3 goes into 3 one time, and it goes into 9 3 times. So that will leave me with 6 over 1, or just 6. 6 batches. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to turn you loose from here, Ashton. I'm going to pause my video, and I want you to pause your video, and I want you to calculate the answers for numbers 3 through 13. And we will, actually it's going to go a bit further than that. 3 through 13. That should be enough for today. You can pause after you've done that part, and then tomorrow I'll have you complete the rest of the lesson and the additional practice and more practice and homework. So for right now, what I'd like you to do is pause the video, find the answers for numbers 3 through 8 on this page, numbers 9 to 13 on the next page, and then you can stop there for today. Okay? Now, I'm also going to pause my video. I'm going to be solving and answering, and then I will restart the video so you can check your answers. Okay? And then tomorrow we'll pick right back up where we left off, and I'll let you know where that will be next. Okay? So you go ahead and pause and work on numbers 3 through 13 right now. Okay, Ash, I'm going to apologize right now. My work is pretty sloppy. I tried to do it all on the same page so that you could see exactly what it was that I was solving. And so I'm just going to kind of leave my screen like this for a moment so that you could pause the video and check your answers and hopefully see what I got, see the way that I got it. And if you have any further questions, then you can talk to me during our time in the afternoon. Remember, I'm available each day on Monday through Thursday from 2:30 to 3 o'clock. Okay? And here's a quick walk through page 87. So we had 3 1/4 divided by a half. You see where I was able to simplify the 2 and the 4. And so I'll give you a minute and you can take a look at that answer. And as we go down, you can go ahead and pause if you need to. All right, this is just evaluating whether or not the work that was done in the book is correct. Then you see that they made a mistake here with the 6 when they did 3 times 2. They said it was 6/3, but we know we would do 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1. It'd be 7/3. So that would be where that mistake would be. Then we have to go ahead and solve there. Okay, so I'll take a peek at my work and see how that matches up to yours. And I'll just leave that on the screen for a moment so you can see. Pause if needed. The answers for questions 11, 12, and 13. Okay, so Ashton, this is going to be a 2-day lesson. I'm going to go ahead and film the rest for a video that will be included in tomorrow's lesson, but it's the same actual lesson 4. We're just going to have a continuation of what we were doing here, and then I'll have you do some more practice on your own. Okay? That concludes our lesson for today for Math, Module 3, Lesson 4, Ashton. And please let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing your work.